Welcome to another episode of 0 to 60. I'm Lex.
I'm Tony.
And today we're going to talk about modern versus vintage. But before we start, what's on your wrist?
You know how I do it. It's my good old Seikos 90-20 5100. What about you?
How many offers you getting in that?
Listen.
Because I feel like you made Seikos pop. Like eBay is on a drop.
There's no watches on eBay. Everybody's selling Seikos on Instagram. There's pages popping up left and right. Everybody's buying up all the Seikos. And, you know...
Damn, we should have bought it more.
We should have bought it more. We should have bought it more. I see these half moons going from $800 to $1,600. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, I passed up on over 150 of those watches over the years that I've been looking at $80, $100, $120. So...
You should have, could have, but you
I should have, could have, and would have.
So might as well enjoy.
Yeah, or they're gonna have to come right.
They're gonna have to come right.
Very right. So what are you wearing?
Put an offer. I don't wear much. I got my LV Louis Vuitton Tambour Convergence Jump Hour. By the way, yes, it was first delivery. This is the thing about this watch. You know, you ever go out in lunch,
okay, and
you ate something that might have stuck it to your teeth.
Oh.
And you're always like,
how do you do it?
Not with this watch anymore. You just go, oh, fresh. You know what I mean? You ever need that? Because you feel weird picking out your phone and being like, yeah, sorry, I'm taking it. Or just, you know, you do that?
Mm-hmm. And
you're like, yo, sir, sorry, I got to go to the bathroom. You do all that? Yeah. Not anymore, bro.
No, you just
not only do you got an amazing timepiece, just like, ha, I ain't got nothing. I'm ready.
Ready.
Jeez.
Ready.
See that? Can't beat that, brother.
You can't beat that.
Double duty watches are the best.
That's why you haven't engraved it, huh?
Yeah. Actually, I haven't engraved it because, I like to look at myself in the mirror.
Okay.
This is my I love yourself.
Yeah.
This is the watch you need so you make sure you always got a Colgate smile, okay?
Okay.
And this watch brings me into the conversation. This is obviously a jump hour inspired by vintage watches I have released in the past.
Yes.
It's a movement that is not, currently released by a bunch of brands. Obviously, it's coming back. Vintage is inspiring modern probably more than it's ever been before.
Yep.
What is your take between modern versus vintage? Would you, if you had all the money, if you got the bank account, ching ching, if they just bought that $3,000, $30,000, they just bought it 30. As a matter of fact, they bought it for 300. Okay, a billionaire from Saudi Arabia says, "Shakada, 300K."
Okay.
Because I want to have it.
Okay.
Now you got 300K, you can buy whatever you want. You go vintage, you have Adam over there, or you go to the design district and you have every boutique you could ever want. What are you buying?
My first two purchases, immediately. I'm scared, because then I'm going to look tomorrow, they're going to be 300K, and then I'm only going to be able to buy one watch. I'm buying the AP Bamboo.
Okay.
Okay? And then I'm going to buy a reversal.
Okay. Vintage reversal?
Vintage.
What is it about vintage?
Nostalgia. I love the feeling. It has a story that is untold. I don't know anything about it, and I know somebody wore that watch for 30, maybe 40, maybe 20 years. And it's like, who knows what it's been through?
You know what I found? I honestly didn't start my journey in vintage.
Mm-hmm.
It was not something that I was like, oh, I'm gonna go right into vintage, I'm gonna find a vintage watch. I started buying modern watches.
I remember.
Right? There's a beauty about it, opening the box for the first time, you being the one that's building the story. And I think that part of it, I wouldn't take away from modern, because I think there's something beautiful about you being the first person to wear that watch and your kids being able to say, oh, my dad used to wear this watch. And
yeah.
Vintage. Now, with that said, as I've built my collection, as I've gone on to collect a bunch of other things, I love vintage.
Yeah.
I love finding a watch that has a lot of history for the brand.
Yeah.
Right? That it represents a moment and time when the brand was either struggling or, in this renaissance. But also, to your point, to think about what that watch has been through, right?
Yeah.
And how that watch also sets you apart, because once you find the right piece, you might be able to find another one, but they'll never be the same.
No.
They're each unique, no matter what. Even if the dial is the same, like they'll have a scratch that the other one don't have because that guy hit it against the window.
Some fade here, something.
And I love that. And I love that because I also like going, very heavy in the watch community and in the entertainment business. And with modern, I feel like there's nothing worse than wearing a watch and then seeing everybody else wear the watch.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That part to me, especially at the same party, that's like you wore the jacket that you bought. Like, I remember being a kid and going to Zara and being like, oh, I came up, I found this jacket nobody got. I'm like super excited. I go to the school party and be like, ah, damn it.
Everybody has it.
You know that happened to me at our film festival? I bought this. I never really go to Zara, not because it's not good, but just because like, I'm actually don't do a lot of shopping at the malls, period. But I went to Zara and I was looking for some like dress shirts that are kind of cropped and cool. And I found this shirt and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy all 3 of them, like all 3 colors, because I really enjoyed it. I put that thing, I'm like, I go to Envision Film Festival, I'm walking. As soon as I walk in, bro, there's a guy wearing the same shirt as me. And
was he staring at you?
Yeah, because that's what, oh, you got that, I got that.
He's like, we ain't gonna talk about it. We know.
That's like you hanging out with your watch club friends, and you do those pictures that everybody does with all the watches, and it's like the guy next to you got the same watch as you do.
Yeah.
That's like, that's not for me.
No.
I
agree.
The cool guy in me just ain't cool with that.
Yeah, the day or the regular just oyster, and there's just everybody has a black dial, the black sub is like, unless it's a vintage one, because you could have a brand new black sub, and I got the 1968, a crazy year or whatever, something that's super special, and it's like, it's not the same watch.
And now that we're talking about, yes, some of these vintage pieces are going hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Right? Some of these vintage pieces are unattainable, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think some of the pieces that I want that are vintage, I'm just like, no, I can't allow myself to get there.
Yeah.
But even talking about Seikos, right?
Yeah.
You have the ability to walk into a store today and buy a Seiko for whatever, $300, $400, whatever it is. There's something amazing about these models.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to find out why Seiko, right, who, as I found out and learned from you, have such a history of incredible vintage watches.
Yeah.
They haven't re-released anything inspired by vintage.
As they should. As I really think they should. Especially like the half moon, so everybody could be like, let me drop the prices down.
I mean, so many watches that I feel like could be re-released.
Yeah, but there is a lot of them.
With that in mind, production has put together a couple watches that are inspired by or re-released.
All right.
And I want us to choose whether you would buy the new one or the old one.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so here we go. So of course, Land Dweller. We know that this has been the talk of the town, new movement, new everything. I think the watch industry and the collectors are split in decision. There's people who say, oh, I love it, new movement, new everything. Yeah. Rolex went for it. And then there's another half that says, I don't like the dial. I mean, it's just like the Oyster Quartz.
People are making fun of it, saying it looks like a PRX.
It looks like a PRX,
crazy.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oyster Quartz, they just Land Dweller. Land Dweller has a new movement.
I'm going with the Oyster Quartz.
Oyster Quartz.
I'm not going with the Perpetual. Like it's for me because Pepito's gonna have it at the table next to you while you're.
Right now, nobody has it.
No, that's fine.
Right
today,
now,
because
if you got one, you are a baller. You're Tom Cruise or, whoever.
Yeah. What about in 6 months?
Okay, so Oyster Quartz.
Oyster. What about you? What do you think?
So, if I had to choose in this particular model, I would go with the Land Dweller. I don't love the Oyster Quartz, the original. I don't love on this kind of watch, like a super simple dial.
Okay. I love the dial.
My personality. It's not my personality. I don't think the honeycomb dial is my favorite, but I do think this watch, the Land Dweller, the moment they decide to go with a different dial color, could be. I like that it's a new movement. This is one of those that if I wouldn't buy right now, but if I had a chance to buy, I would go with the Land Dweller.
Okay. I see that.
This is a big one now.
Yeah.
So TAG, of course, new sponsor again. LVMH bought the sponsorship of all the watches and the trophies and everything. And so, of course, TAG became, once again, Formula One's, watch sponsor. And so they re-released the Formula One, this time with a Solograph, which we went yesterday. Shout out to TAG. They showed us a bunch of really nice models. Bigger case than the original one from '86.
Yes.
Now, There's also the Kith edition that
I
we
like the
released
Kith.
like a year ago or a year and a half ago. Prices on the original 1986 in the 300s, 400s. Prices on the brand new one, $1,900. And the Kith one, you can find it out in Chrono and other marketplaces
I've
for
seen
about $1,200. What are you buying?
I'm buying the Kith, or I'm buying the original one, because the vintage one, I don't know if you noticed with the new ones, like you could grab the bezel and it goes anyway. Like it goes left, it goes right. You know, the old ones, it's single direction, and it has like a little more tension on it. I don't know if it's all the old gunk that's on there that made it, you know.
Yeah.
But it is tighter on the bezel, and it only goes one way. So I feel like, you know, being able to just flip it around and stuff like that, I don't really like that. What about you?
That is a weird reason why, but I'll give that to you. I guess, you know, you have OCD and you need to go all right and not left.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta go right. Sometimes
Gotta
you
go
gotta
right.
go left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Always right. If
So-
it when in doubt, go right.
Or left.
Yeah. Well.
Sometimes you gotta go left because
Yeah.
right is the fucking edge of the building. I'm just saying. You know, right now if I go right, I'm going straight out that window.
Yeah, you're right.
So
You get it?
I will get, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, I will get the new model.
Yeah.
I like the bigger case size.
Okay.
I like how the solograph makes the dial almost look ceramic, or almost
Yeah.
look like, you know, like the blue. That blue was like an
I didn't like the
amazing blue dial.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see all the new models. But I will say, if I have to get rubber, like if I'm doing the original rubber strap, if I'm comparing rubber and rubber,
Yeah.
I'm doing the original.
Okay.
If I'm doing steel bracelet,
Yeah.
I'm doing the new one, bigger size. It feels better. It looks better in the hand. I saw, you know, one of my close friends. He went with his son to the race, and they had both of the watches on.
Yeah.
Like his son had the original one, he had the new one.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which I think is a good way.
That is cool.
I will say $1,900 for this watch is too much.
It's steep, and
It's
I
too much.
really loved. I honestly really liked it. I wanted to buy it. The cream color dial,
Yeah.
like the
The
original
original,
one.
yeah.
And I wore it when we went and checked it out, and I was like, I need to own this watch.
Yeah.
So I would buy the new one on the steel bracelet, but my heart just goes vintage because a little. So
Not really sure what that means, guys, but all right.
yeah, you get it.
Patek Philippe split seconds chronograph, originally released in 1923. Obviously, that's been re-released.
Yes.
The brand new one, it's also a movie, bigger case. I think split seconds overall to me is an amazing Patek to own. Vintage or modern?
I'd go modern on this one.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, I like the modern. Just in this situation right here, and if I had a split second to choose, get it? That was a good one. All right, I'm going with the new one. I'm going. It looks fresh, even though I like the vintage look, all that stuff. But you know, there's something about the new one that I like over the vintage.
I'm gonna have to go vintage with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I like the smaller case size. I like, you know, the white dial. I just think, anytime I think Patek, whatever, Patek Philippe, I think vintage. I think that's a brand that the history just makes the watch feel like you have a vintage Patek Philippe.
Yeah, I agree with the vintage Patek. With that statement, I agree 1,000%. But
I will go vintage.
I like the vintage.
Okay, but you're going modern.
I'm going modern on that.
All right. Ooh, IWC Ingenieur. I will go, obviously they re-released it.
Yeah.
I got to go to the factory. Shout out to IWC for showing me the factory. I got to see all the new dial colors.
Super cool.
You know, the checker flag dial colors, the Brad Pitt or the sunny green dial with gold.
Yeah.
I own the turquoise.
I like the turquoise.
I like this watch, but there's something about the vintage original 1976 Gerald Genta design
Yeah.
that I love.
Yeah.
that I feel like if it would have been re-released in that original shape, I think it would be a super hype watch, the way that the Vacheron 222 steel is.
Yes.
Which I'm still waiting for mine. Vacheron, holla at your boy. I'm trying to buy this thing. But the modern one is still beautiful.
It is.
But I would go vintage.
I'm going vintage on that. The Argento design, like you already know, there's not much to talk about. Price, I love the new one.
Yeah, and the price on the new is not. I know a lot of people complain that it's like, why is it IWC $12,000 watch, right?
Well,
when you can get a submarine for $8,000 or $9,000 now with the Arteris, or probably $10,000 now with Teris.
Yeah.
And you can walk into any IWC and you'll find this watch, right? Like it's not a watch.
They're available.
They're available. They're pretty much available everywhere. Vintage. Funny enough, I went to Japan. I saw an old gold vintage IWC, and I took a picture. I remember sending it to Pablo.
You didn't send it to me.
No, I didn't send it to you. I sent it to Pablo. This wasn't this trip. This was like maybe. Oh no, this was this last trip that I went.
Looking for excuses.
And
it's all good.
And I'm like, damn, I should have bought it.
You should?
I should have bought it. I mean,
that's why you didn't send it to me, because you know I would have been like,
yeah, you would have had me up. You would have had me up.
He knows.
I'm
not the guy.
I will say to all my retail friends out there in the ADs, if you've seen why I haven't bought any watches lately, Tony has hyped me down.
Yeah.
I was in LA, and it was like 4 or 5 times I almost pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
And I did that, bro. But look at it. And he was like, nah.
I looked at him. I was like, no. He was like, yeah, but like, you don't think that?
He's saving me money.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tony.
Yes.
Tony, instead of Tony, is it Tony 2 Seikos? Tony 2 Safe.
Tony 2 savings.
We all need a little savings.
Because he goes, well, he's like, oh, I like this watch, and then he wants to get it in every dial color, and it's like, you've already bought 5 of them, maybe like 8 of them off of this person. I love the relationships. That's great. But enough is enough. Like, you don't need all of them in all the colors.
We all need a friend like Tony.
Yeah.
I'll rent them to you, $9.99.
You're gonna have to pay a little more than that. If I'm wearing the Seiko, you already know it's gonna be $3,099.
He just got really expensive. Never mind, you don't need a friend like him.
No, you don't. But I'll say this
is a good one.
Yeah.
Rolex Chronograph Daytona, aka John Mayer, or aka John Mayer Part 2.
Yeah.
Now they re-released it again with the subdials in gold.
Yeah.
Vintage or the brand new one?
I'm torn. I'm torn because the brand new one looks crazy. Yeah. I like the contrast that it does on the dial.
I want to see it in person. I
haven't seen it in person yet,
or even seen a video. I actually should look for one, but the gradient on the dial is what makes, to me, is going to make the difference, right? Because if it's a flat green, then if it has that ombre, like the one that depth, then it could be really good. I know that I tried the John Mayer multiple times.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to buy that watch. I tried it on. It was just something about a all gold Daytona.
You passed up on it a couple times.
It just says gaudy. It says, I'm a mobster. I'm in New York City, and you're gonna get that pa 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 pa.
That's my watch.
You know what I mean? Like that's definitely you.
Yeah, I'm rocking that.
Vintage or new?
I'm gonna let you guys pick. Put it in the comments. I don't think I could pick here because I'd be hypocritical. What about you?
I want you to go in the comments, and we're gonna do a short video after because I want to find out. So John Mayer original or John Mayer 2, aka New Daytona against vintage. If you want to look it up, vintage reference number 116508 or the brand new model reference number 126508. We'll put it up on the screen. Shout out to production. Let us know what you think. Yeah. Yes, I am reading the reference numbers. I am learning this. It's not my day job, but I am actually, now I know, now I'm a numbers guy. You see how in our video last week, I was like, 116515 LN with the meteorite dial.
Yeah.
Bam.
Off the hip.
Wait until I quit my day job and I have more time.
Oh, they're not ready for that.
They ain't ready.
They're not ready for that.
They ain't ready. I'm going to be the biggest watch nerd you ain't never seen.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
So
there's some good stuff here.
Let's go to Piaget because they are probably the brand that has received the most hype and love since the vintage new craze has come on. You know, vintage Piagets are going all kind of numbers. super hype. Obviously, the Polo,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's going. I got the Polo 79, great watch. Everybody's in that. With that in mind, they released what they're calling the Andy Warhol watch.
Yeah.
Which is, yes, is a re-release of their original watch. This particular model is not for me. It's a beautiful watch, but it's not for me. But it's a perfect example, and I think we should talk about Piaget as a brand between vintage and modern.
Yeah.
So I have the modern Polo.
Yes.
Vintage Polo. Vintage or modern?
What were we talking about the other day?
I know, you went vintage.
I told him, I said, look, get rid of the new one and buy the old one.
Yeah. I do like the old one. I like the sizing better on the old one.
Yeah.
But there's the way that they blended the gold on this new one.
Yeah. The finishes are excellent.
It's one of the best finishes. I mean, it's almost like they went to Grand Seiko and got their best polishers. Then
you work for us now.
Then went and got the best mix of gold. Like literally that gold is not rose. It's not all the way yellow, strong. It's just impeccable.
It is.
I think Piaget vintage for me over anything modern that they're releasing.
I agree, 100%.
Okay, we're on the same one there. This last one is a big one because we talked about Cartier in our last video. They re-released the Tank shit. It's a jump hour.
Yeah.
This was probably one of the hypest watches that they released. If not the hypest watch they released, Watches and Wonders. Cartier to me means class.
Yeah.
That's why I said, if you have the Cartier brand on a watch, it gives the watch a value that normally if you were to take that out, you'd be like, it's a cool watch, but it's not necessarily that. They've created a space just for themselves in this territory where they are the definition of an incredible dress watch, incredibly simple, but also vintage, also multi-era vintage, right? Like you can wear that regardless of your age range. Vintage or the new?
Looking at the cuts, I'm going vintage. Like people could say it's identical. It's not. Like on the bottom, I see a different cut there. For me, that's what makes it.
The case is also smaller.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the modern one in person.
No.
But in this particular one, I want to go modern. I want to see it in person. I think that this watch modern with a new movement, like you said, it's
fresh.
It's similar enough to the vintage watch, which is like, if you can buy a vintage one, why not? Like, go get the modern one. They're gonna be as hard to get, honestly. This is they're only gonna give this to the top of the top buyers. So if you could buy one, it might be a little bit more expensive to buy the new one, but man, the modern one, you get a modern movement, you make it yours, you get to make that story yourself. It's not a huge difference from the vintage one. So it doesn't, to me, make sense to just go get the vintage one. If it was like night and day, like the Polo sizing is night and day.
Yeah.
The
finishes,
the style is like, there's something special about that vintage Polo that the new one doesn't have. It also fits better on the wrist. This is essentially the same watch, a little bigger, but new movement. You might as well go for the new one.
I'm convinced.
Okay.
I'm convinced. I'd go for
I'm a great salesman. Cartier, you can call me.
Anytime.
305, holla at your boy. I'll come sell for you any day.
Yeah,
Rolex,
I'm
AP.
convinced.
On my second life, I'm gonna be a watch dealer / AD owner.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our last watch.
Okay.
Modern versus vintage. We would love to hear from you guys what you think. We are also going to go ask Adam. Obviously, we know Adam loves vintage, but I want to get his take on some of the modern watches and see what he takes and how he thinks that they should have taken the old designs and introduced them into a new movement or into a new case or into, a modern version of the watch. So that video will come soon. But make sure to comment, make sure to like, make sure to share. Thank you for being part of the 0 to 60 community. We're super excited to be doing this. Again, as we say in every video, we're just two collectors and honestly, more than anything, friends who just love watches, just like you. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Lex.
I'm Tony.
And until the next one,